Today is Monday, April 11th, 2022. I'm Troy Beverly, and this is Pan-African News. Russia blocks UN Security Council's request for an independent investigation on the alleged massacre in Mali. Chad moves toward defense agreement with Russia. Ugandan army kills 11 insurgents. South Sudan president says a professional army is key to his nation's stability. The Senegalese army annexes more insurgent bases in Casamance. The Ugandan gaming industry faces challenges to its growth. Benin launches cashew marketing campaign. Zimbabwean dairy company increases sales by 48%. Nigerian vice president announces his candidacy for president. Mali. Russia blocks UN Security Council request for independent investigations in Mura. This article is taken from the French newspaper AFP. Russia blocked a UN Security Council request for independent investigations into an alleged March massacre of several hundred civilians in Mura, the Malian army, and Russian mercenaries. This request was contained in a statement drafted by France, which was submitted to the Security Council on Friday. Russia, backed by China, opposed it, according to several diplomats. Moscow and Beijing did not see the need for this text, deemed premature, when an investigation was opened by the Malian authorities, one of these diplomats told AFP on condition of anonymity. Chad moves toward defense agreements with Russia. This article is taken from Actu Cameroon newspaper. According to a reliable source, Russia is discussing a defense agreement with Chad. After CAR and Mali, Russia is currently negotiating with neighboring Chad. 9 months ago, the Transitional Military Committee, CMT, sent the Minister of Defense, General Daoud Yahya Brahim, to Moscow. After this visit, the Chadian minister, who talked with the Russian Deputy Minister of Defense, expressed his complete satisfaction. Russia is ready to help Chad modernize its military equipment, explained Brahim. The Russian Deputy Minister of Defense reassured us of assistance in strengthening our state's defense capabilities and protecting our sovereignty and territorial integrity, added Brahim. Uganda. Army kills 11 in Karamoja as Museveni vows to end insecurity. This article is taken from the Ugandan newspaper, The Observer. At least 11 suspected Karamojong cattle rustlers were shot dead last week by the joint security force of the army and police during disarmament operations in Karamoja sub-region, according to Michael Longole, the Karamoja Regional Police spokesperson. Longole noted that security also recovered 9 guns and 113 rounds of ammunition, while the rustlers killed 5 civilians and injured 3 Uganda People's Defense Forces, UPDF, soldiers. He further explained that security recovered 714 cattle and 267 goats from the rustlers, while 45 rustlers were arrested and will appear in court on charges of illegal possession of firearms. Longole said this brings the total number of guns and ammunition recovered to 201 and 2,476 respectively, since July 17, 2021, when the current disarmament operation was launched. The Army has intensified operations in Karamoja to counter the resurgence of cattle rustlers who are now said to be on a rampage, stealing animals and killing people in their wake. In a recent press statement, UPDF said it has so far killed more than 300 Karamojong warriors, captured many others, and recovered more than 100 guns. According to the Chief of Defense Forces, CDF, General Wilson Basu Badi, the recruits should brace themselves for more training in the specialized units to deploy for better results. He noted that the recruits received packages of different topics, including attitude change for socioeconomic transformation, patriotism for socioeconomic transformation, retirement sensitization, gender equity in the UPDF, ideological training, and UPDF's role in the security of Uganda. South Sudan. South Sudan's Kerr says professional army source of stability. This article is taken from Sudan Tribune. South Sudan President Salva Kiir has said professionalism and command structures of the army, police, and security services is key in the stability and defense of the country. He made the remarks on Friday last week after receiving the list of armed opposition, SPLM/A-IO, officers nominated for the unified command structure. Speaking at a meeting organized by the Joint Defense Board in Juba on Friday, the Presidential Advisor on Security Affairs, Tutku Gatluk Manime, expressed the government's readiness to expedite the formation of the unified command structure. The peace parties signed an agreement mediated by the Sudanese government to end a deadlock over the command structure of the unified forces. The deal allocates 60% representation to Kiir's ruling party, SPLM, and the remaining 40% to the other two armed groups with fighters to be integrated into the army. 3 committees were in late December 2021 dispatched to the various training centers to reorganize and unify forces in those training centers. The process could not proceed because of the previous stalemate over power sharing in the unified command structure. About 50,000 forces drawn from different parties are in the training centers, including members of the Army, Police, National Security, Prison, Wildlife, and Civil Defense. Senegal. After Salif Sadio, the Army of Senegal annexes the bases of Cesar Atute Badiate. This article is taken from the Senegalese newspaper Le Quotidien. Senegal's army has annexed bases from Cesar Atute Badiate, the rebel leader of the other faction of the Mouvement des Forces Démocratiques de Casamance, MFDC. The security operations have made it possible to free the bases of Niambalong and Madiadandiane, located in the commune of Djibidione in district of Sindian in the department of Bignona. The fleeing rebels left behind many munitions and motorcycles. These operations made it possible to put an end to cannabis cultivation. The army discovered dozens of hectares of cannabis fields. Through this intervention, the army dissolved the illicit timber trade and cannabis trades, 2 activities that could finance the activities of the armed bands of the MFDC. Bases controlled by rebel leader Sadio were first dismantled by the army. This offensive is the cause of many displaced people. The army launched an assault on the bases of Badiate in April. Uganda. The problem with gaming in Uganda. This article is taken from the East African newspaper. Gaming is big business outside Africa, and while it thrives in some countries on the continent in small gaming communities, Those invested in the business in Uganda cite lack of money and collaborations and prohibitive internet cost as some of the challenges holding an explosion of the industry. Philip Mukasa, the operations director of the Kampala-based Clan of the King studio, said, "You need coders, animators, and concept artists to develop games. It is easier to work in collaboration with people with different skills and resources." Nicholas Nemesis Kaya, the founder of Talalia Studio in Kampala, concurs and says studio owners in Uganda lack capital to engage game developers, and that you need to have an idea or point of origin to create productions. Gaming is small but thriving in Uganda, and Larian Tete, the founder of Tribe Uganda Studio and organizer of the annual DigiArt Fest in Kampala, says gamers from across all age groups turn up from his festival. Games are not only entertaining but educative as well. We have been approached by different entities to assist them to reach out to game developers to produce their stories. Mukasa said the gaming industry in Uganda is highly informal, with individually owned gaming parlors charging by the hour. However, the opportunity is huge. High mobile phone penetration in Uganda has created a unique opportunity for content creators because their content reaches diverse audiences. He believes even with piracy, the future of gaming is bright because people have the ability to create games from anywhere in the world and distribute them globally. This works in our favor since we are operating in the fastest growing region. Benin. The marketing of cashew nuts launched in Basila. This article is taken from the Beninese newspaper El Integration. The 2021-22 cashew nut marketing campaign was launched on April 1st, 2022 in Basila Donga Department. The floor price for purchases was 350 West African francs. Today is therefore a great day for producers in Benin in general, and particularly for those in the cashew sector. With an unprecedented commitment from the government, the development of the cashew sector has been gaining momentum year after year since 2017. It is in this wake that our production results for the current campaign indicate more than 190,000 tons, thus showing an increase of more than 37% compared to the 2020-2021 campaign, for which the production obtained was 137,926 tons, said Gaston Kasi Dosuhu, Minister of Agriculture, Livestock, and Fisheries. He also stressed that for the current campaign, the government has already taken steps to facilitate the installation of 20,000 hectares of new plantations from high-performance plants and support the rehabilitation of 70,000 hectares of old plantations to increase their production potential. Still, with this objective, Minister Dos Uhui continued between 2021 and 2026. It is planned to implement a national program for the development of plantations and field crops, which aims to develop 500,000 hectares of cashew plantations and develop new types of agricultural enterprises by relying on the state as the driving force behind this dynamic through structuring investments. Zimbabwe. Dairy Board records 48% jump in sales. This article is taken from the Zimbabwean newspaper Newsday. Milk processor Dairy Board Zimbabwe recorded a 48% jump in sales, the highest in 5 years, driven by a significant growth in the beverage sector, though failing to meet consumer demand last year. The sale of 94.2 million liters was 48% ahead of the prior year, with liquid milk growing by 10%, foods by 34%, and beverages by 84% due to growth in volumes of its Fuco and Cascade products. In a statement accompanying the company's financial results for the period ending on December 31st, 2021, Dairy Board said 20% of the sales were in foreign currency, an increase of 16% from 2020. Operating profit increased to $791 billion, a growth of 1,009%, with the group achieving an after-tax profit of $61 million, which was an increase of 149% above the prior year. Nigeria. VP Osinbajo finally declares to run for president. This article is taken from The Guardian, Nigeria. Nigeria's Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, has finally declared to run for president, ending months of speculation and tepid denials. The VP will be squaring up against APC bigwigs, including his political benefactor and former governor of Lagos State, Bola Tinubu, Transportation Minister Rotimi Amaechi, former governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, and governors Kogi and Ebonyi states, Yahaya Bello and Dave Umahi. Osinbajo served 8 years as Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Lagos State when Tinubu was the governor between 1999 and 2007. He was nominated as the running mate to Muhammadu Buhari in December 2014, the then candidate of the APC for the 2015 presidential election. Osinbajo has since served about 7 years as vice president to President Muhammadu Buhari, whom he considered as a true Nigerian patriot. He said he and Buhari spent the last 7 years working through some of the most difficult times in the history of the country, focusing on securing the country, providing infrastructure, and growing its economy.